And hello and good morning. I'm David Bowles. It's a Monday. This is Bowles.tv, BOLES.television, coming to you live and in person Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Well, here I am looking at you today, and you looking at me, and I'm being hotboxed by my neighbor, as well as I'm looking to see how beautiful I look today, because just as it happens, you turn on your lights and you're ready to go, and one of the lights doesn't turn on. Now, we haven't had that problem for a long time. And luckily, it's one of the big lights, because if it's one of the little tiny key lights that you see over here, or even down here, those you have to reset. The big lights, you press a button for 11 seconds, they reset, and then you reconnect them. It takes 10 minutes, but it's usually not a disaster. But all of my beautiful presets with the right heat, intensity, light color, I had to reset it. But I don't look quite as red as I have in the past. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But we're going to call it a good thing because we ran out of time and it's time for the show to begin. So we had an interesting weekend. Had some really great news and then some really sad news. And we'll discuss both of them here on the show today. And as I was chatting with the Jana Marie about this, it's really all very sad. Because you're excited, you want to celebrate, and then the real reality of the world sets in. And then we talked about it and decided, well, that's just kind of the way life is, right? You take the good with the bad. You celebrate the wonderful, and then you grieve for the bad. So we're going to have some of that today, and I guess we have a little bit of that all day, every day here on our live stream. It just seems a little more personal this time. And my goodness, it's all you want to where do we start? Because there's so many things going on. How is this going to work? I don't know. But here are a couple of things that I will share with you that I discovered. And we put this in Discord if you want the links, but there's a couple of things you can add to your browsing experience that will make this live stream and your chat, hey, even better. One of them is this. These are browser extensions, as they say in the biz. My favorite is this one. 7, the numeral 7, tv.app. And you can see browser extensions for all of these wonderful browsers. Edge, Opera, Firefox, Chrome, even mobile apps. Frosty, Dank, Chat for Android. Chatson. Other apps, Chatterino. I don't know what the other app is. Maybe it's Linux? I don't know. But they give you wonderful chat emotes. You can actually see how the Bowles bot font really looks, because you can set it and it gives you different badges. A lot of fun. And then if you're going to do that, then you should also do, hello, this one, Better TV and .com, which gives you more emotes, chats, fun things that you can add to the experience of the chatters. But your chatters have to have it installed or they can't get the benefit of it. And then there's another one, Frankenzy-Face, which is part of kind of Better TV. You install one, you get the other. It just makes the chat experience more delicious, as they say, and more delightful. I also discovered this morning, curiously, as I'm setting the new tags for this live stream, you can now, you're not limited to 350 tags, you can make up your own tag and add it to your stream. Well, there are 2 tags I found out that are not allowed. They violate the terms of service of your Twitch account. And so you type them in and you get a red error and it doesn't get added. Just a blank screen, nothing happens. But Gordon says, you look fantastic as always. Well, to that I say thank you, and that to me deserves the celebration of a dad joke. What are we getting? Hope it's a good one. Hey, my boss told me to attach 2 pieces of wood together. I totally nailed it. Not bad. What you'd expect on a Monday for a dad joke. So the 2 tags they will not let you use are WAR. Now, I have typed in a tag Ukraine war before, and they put it all together. They take out the space and they put it all together. That is fine. At least it used to be. But war by itself, they won't publish it. I don't know why. The other is the word Twitch. TWITCH. As in, I want to enhance my Twitch chat, so install these extensions. Twitch is not allowed. I tried war by itself. I tried Twitch by itself. Violating your terms of service. Don't talk about Twitch on Twitch. I wonder if YouTube is. Well, now I want to check. I don't know if it'll let me. Let me see. I can remove one. Let me see if I can add YouTube. I'm sure I can. I've used Facebook before, I think. YouTube is added. Very bizarre. The illegality is just shocking. So, one of my favorite shows used to be The Rehearsal with Nathan Fielder. All right? Talked about it last week. Friday, 11 p.m. Final show of the series. I think there were 6 altogether. And we don't watch it Friday at 11 because we're in bed. We watch it Saturday night. And it was the big finale. So everyone's, it's going to be meta upon meta. It's going to be delicious and delightful. Well, the first half was 33 minutes of a show. First half, great, as always. Second half, the whole thing fell apart. And I've read some online reviews, and I don't think they're really watching the show. I think they're just letting the show wash over them and then writing up a review of what happened on the show. And, isn't Nathan great? Well, if you think about it dramatically, theologically, and from the point of view of a script professor, there are a couple of things that didn't quite work. So I'm not going to bore you with the entire revamp of the show, but here's sort of what happened. The show is a rehearsal for real life. They hire actors to rehearse things that happen in a life so that when it really happens, you're prepared. Take the good with the bad. Conversation might go this way. Maybe it starts this way, it goes this way. Okay, funny. Love the idea. First 3 episodes, dynamic. And then the show changes and where it becomes about him being a father and acting as a father with different children, fake children playing his kid and a fake wife, and they're all actors. And then the final episode of the show, we see the reality of what it's like to be a child actor, to be 6 years old and to be working in television. And this is why a lot of child actors really have a very hard time as an adult. There's a blurring of the line between reality and fantasy. And kids really don't know what the difference is. We're play acting. Okay. So they swap out the kids playing his fake kid on the show. And there was one child. His name is Remy, I believe, real name. Acting part he's playing on the show is Adam. And the child playing Adam was told, okay, we're swapping you out now for an older kid, so you're done. You can go home. And he starts crying, uncontrollably crying. In real life. as an actor. But he's not an actor, he's a 6-year-old kid who's on television who doesn't understand the difference between playing a role and playing yourself. And his mother, who is very beautiful and a wonderful mother, is trying to comfort him, says, okay, this is, just a job. We're pretending. Remember, we're going home now. And he says, I don't want to leave Daddy. Wow. Now that was a moment. And of course, Nathan's there. And he's awkward and weird and trying to comfort a child who thinks that Nathan is his real daddy. Become daddy. So that's what the rest of the show is about, is how do you handle a young child's reality who doesn't know the difference between pretend daddy named Nathan and daddy who's coming home to live with us. And it's heart-wrenching for about 5-10 minutes, and then, it becomes Nathan's show. And he does what he's been doing all the series. Decides to create different scenarios of how he could have handled this better as an actor and producer of the show. So a young child is not confused about who his real daddy is. And in a conversation he had with the mother at her house, she said he'll be okay. And this is the most beautiful line in the whole series. And Nathan didn't say it. And Nathan said, how do you know that your son is going to be okay? And the mother said, I know because I see my face in him. And he's going to be okay. Because I know he's going to be okay. I will make him okay. And it might take time. He doesn't understand what's going on right now, but he's going to be okay. So right there, for me, over. Roll the credits, beautiful moment. The mother sees her face in the face of her son. But then Nathan decides to go back and role play with an older Nathan, with an adult playing a child, which was very funny, and a robot dummy playing his child. And he's redoing these rehearsals to say, how can I make this clear that I'm not your dad, I'm just playing your dad, my real name is Nathan, and I'm just, big dummy. And that doesn't really work out very well. So then he decides, and this is where 2 mistakes were made at the end of the show, like the last 10 minutes. And it's sorry that 10 minutes ruins the whole arc of all the episodes, but it does. Mistake number 1. He decided to play the mother, right? This beautiful, intelligent, warm, fantastic mother who sees her face and her son's face. He decides as a rehearsal to play the mother. So he puts on the painted fingernails. They do a thing in the mirror where he's looking in a mirror and he's a woman. And they dress him sort of like the mother, but they do not put him in a wig. Now, I know that sounds weird, but the construct of this whole rehearsal thing is that people playing other people wear wigs. The child they swapped out, the older child who's a real pro, excellent actor, who's playing the younger child who is confused, puts on the wig of the young child, so he looks like him. So Nathan is walking around being the mother, trying to comfort his child. But it's Nathan, with painted fingernails. And he's using sort of a feminine voice. It doesn't fit the context of what he's been doing for all of these episodes. And then he has a scene with the young child, right? Played by the older child who replaced him in a wig. And they're at their fake rehearsal house. that belongs to the mother and the real child, but it's a reconstruction of their house. And they're having this moment back and forth. You're my dad, or I'm my dad. And then I guess they say, maybe Nathan made a mistake and said, I'm your father. And then the kid says, wait a minute. You're not my father. You're the mother. And then Nathan says, oh, yeah. No, I am your father. Of the show. Okay. Very disappointing, very confusing. A couple of reviews said, oh, it's the best acting Nathan's ever done, which I find laughable because he's a terrible actor. And that's part of what's funny about him is that he's not an actor. He's just a big dumb guy who happens to be very funny. So some people say, well, they must have just been rehearsing and he misspoke and they just went with it and ended the show that way. Well, if you know the show's very well planned out. So I don't believe that was just an invention. Something convenient to give, Nathan a fun way to go. It was planned. And the kid saying, no, you're right, the mother, that was planned too. Has to be. It's not unscripted. And that's how they ended the show. Which I find very confusing. I am your father. You spent the whole episode saying I'm not your father. And now you're saying in rehearsal, I am your father, which means the next step is you're going to get together with that young kid and say, I am your father. Putting all that aside, here is the second mistake that Nathan made. And who am I? I am Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. That's who I am. He's a big dummy, I'm a big dummy. We're all big dummies. This is where I think the fatal mistake was made in the last half of the show. In order to understand people that he doesn't understand because he's a disconnected person, Nathan plays an actor who was in his scene class because he wasn't connecting with him. He plays other roles as well, trying to figure out who he is and what mistakes he's made as a person. In the end, Nathan should not have been playing the mother. That doesn't make any sense. The mother doesn't have anything to do with it. The mother knows what she's doing. The mother's not making a mistake. He thinks he's going to learn by playing the mother how to handle the child. But what he should have done is been the child. He should have played Adam, taking it on from a child's point of view and how it's confusing. If you're trying to understand the child, you don't cast 3 different kids to play the child. You don't become the mother. If you want to understand the motivation of the child, you become the child. Now that's an interesting ending to the show. And then the revelation is, not that I am your dad, but you are not my dad. Now I understand it. The way it has been explained to me, the way Mom has talked to me, the way I'm feeling, I was close to you. That's the catharsis that we need at the end, is the revelation of the child and the man. And we didn't get it. It didn't make any sense. Because they've done this all over the show where Nathan steps out and there's this other actor who plays Nathan. And then Nathan, not being Nathan, but someone else, interacts with himself as an actor. And it's very funny. It's very terrific. And that's what the end of the show needed. Nathan becomes the child in want, in desperate need of a father figure. And realizing that life is hard and difficult, and you can have very good friends, you can feel things, and they're all valid. But don't let the labels mislead you. So now I'm a little bit disappointed, because the show had been absolutely spectacularly perfect until the last 15 minutes of that episode. I didn't get it. And maybe it's because I'm really dumb, and I'm not on that level. But the other predictions that people had that this was going to be a meta thing about the whole thing as a rehearsal for Nathan to, become a better person was an interesting theory that they really could have pushed. And that's why some people think, well, they went with the ending they had because it was a real moment where Nathan forgot his line and said, I'm your dad. And the kid, breaks the fourth wall and says, no, you're my... I don't think so. And if they went with it because that's what really happened, that doesn't make any sense because the whole show is about rehearsing and making things better, even though things change. And some people say, well, then that's the lesson, is you can't rehearse your life. It just happens. And people misspeak. People say one thing, they mean another. Not quite as interesting to me. Just as a viewer. So we have some more news coming up, some interesting things to chat about. But for now, we're going to take a very brief blood pressure break as the next thing's a little deep and convoluted in a good way. And I don't want to start it and then stop it. So we'll return in a moment. And we're back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv, BOLES.television. Oh, so many things going on here. Trying to figure out where to start first. What I can say without getting people in trouble. That's the number one thing. Because some of the things we're going to be talking about can get people in trouble. So I don't want anybody in danger. Not really trouble. Well, while we were away, it looks like Gordon was telling a dad joke. Gordon says, I always have an okay driver's license photo because I spend minutes rehearsing going from resting face to photo face over and over again. Okay. I don't know what brought that on, but okay. We should add that to the dad joke database. Work it. So let's see. All right, now I'm trying to figure, we'll do this now and the rest later. Gordon says rehearsal is what brought that up, and the topic you can rehearse for life. I got it. It's too smart for a Monday, Gordon. You're just too on the ball. That's very good. And there are some people, who go through life because of cultural differences, because of the way things work, that they have never learned how to properly smile. And if you're in America, and you're from different places or from a different country, you may not know that culturally in America, people want you to smile. Especially if you're going like for a job interview, they don't want to see a dead face, a stern face. They want to see you have a little bit of personality. And it's interesting, for many years, a long time ago, especially in the ASL classes that we would teach, if a student happened to be from Korea, their culture was not one of making, facial expressions. Eyes up, bulging eyes, frowning, upset. They don't do that. That is considered inappropriate. Well, when you're trying to teach a language and facial expression is a big part of that language, that becomes a problem in class, because you have students who will not are not, their faces have not been trained to make those muscle movements. So you don't punish them for it, but you try to make them aware of it, and they try to change and make things work. I remember when we first moved to Washington, D.C., I was doing something at one of the universities there, and there was an older gentleman there who had come over to go to school, and he was from China. Wonderful guy. And he needed a lot of help with his English, and he didn't know how to do it, and I think he wanted me to help him, and I wasn't there permanently, so I really couldn't help him. But I would see him every once in a while, and no matter what I would say to him, being serious, he would laugh. And I found it very off-putting and insulting. And so one time I asked him, I said, why are you laughing at everything I say? Me being fresh from Nebraska and, not looking for insults, but it's weird when you're talking to somebody and all they're doing is laughing in your face. And he responded to me by laughing. So I kind of, disconnected from him, and we didn't see each other, and that was that, which was unfortunate because it was later on in my life, as I become kinder, smarter, and wiser, we hope, that I learned that in some cultures, especially the Chinese culture, is when that person is nervous or doesn't understand something or doesn't know how to respond, the culturally accepted behavior is a little bit of laughter. So you can kind of, laugh together and then move on and figure out what's being missed or being misunderstood. Well, he couldn't explain that to me. I didn't understand what he was talking about. This is way before we had anything like an internet. So you could look it up. And I now feel terrible about that because he wasn't trying to insult me or make fun of my advice or the suggestions I was making on, reading his papers. He was just nervous and maybe a little bit embarrassed. So you try to say, well, you live and you learn, and you try to fix your mistakes and move on. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It's too late. So the next person you meet, you have to be careful. And I have met some people, foreign students, in my teaching, and I see, they're laughing and they're uncomfortable. And now I can read a little bit better. And this, okay, they're not laughing at me. They're not making light of a serious situation. They're just nervous. So then, you kind of laugh a little bit with them so they can, feel that they're not completely alone. And then you work it out and you try to take it down to a different level. Say it differently. And as we've talked about this live stream before, if someone doesn't understand you because of a language problem or a cultural conflict, and they say, can you repeat what you said? Or they don't hear you. Could you say it again? Don't say the exact same sentence again or louder. Say it in a different way. And I have now learned to do that. Sometimes I don't hear people correctly, or maybe someone is saying something in ASL or Russian or Chinese, and I don't get it. So I don't say, can you say that again? Can you repeat that? I say now that I have learned, can you say that in a different way? And that usually is a clue to them like, okay, this person is not understanding me saying it that way. So if I say it a different way, probably a simpler way, a more basic way, maybe we'll understand each other. So that works too, but you have to be brave enough to say it. I don't understand you. Can you say it in a different way? Or if someone says, you have to be sensitive enough to say, okay, I got to say this in a different way. Communication is important. And hey, speaking of communication, here we go. One of my friends is this lovely young gentleman who sort of looks a lot like me. This is our old pal Igba from Russia. As you can see, he lives in a very beautiful place, a very beautiful land. I don't want to share too much about Igba because I don't want to get him in trouble because he lives in Russia. And we've been going back and forth all morning about how things are there and he's telling me some very interesting things. I did ask him, we've read about Putin going to prisons and taking prisoners and giving them amnesty and $3,500 a month and then not paying them, and we never hear from them again. And I said, you're a young man. Are you being drafted? And I guess right now they're not doing that yet in Russia. They're going to people's doors and knocking on them and saying, hey, why don't you come join us and we'll pay you all this money? And right now it seems you can turn them down and say, for me today, no thank you. Will it remain that way? I don't know. But I know that there is a certain faction in Russia who are not happy with the war. They will not and do not want to fight. And I think that Putin appears to know that. So Igba is an NFT artist. And one of the wonderful things that he is changing into is he's going to be doing things with silver, and he's also now doing sculptures. And this was an example of a sculpture that he posted on his Twitter feed. And I I guess you could say, borrowed this video. I figured out how you can finally download a video from Twitter. And I put it on my account so I can make sure I always have it. So he posted this, maybe 4 weeks ago on his Twitter feed, and I said, well, that's really interesting. It sort of looks like Easter Island to me, and they're little tiny things, but they're quite beautiful. And he has this new tool. I just think it's delightful. I love every second of it. And he's done, I think, 3 so far. Different, very different looks. And this was the final product. And I showed this to Jana. And because Igba says he's sending it to me as a gift. Wow. Okay. And I showed this picture of the gift to Jana. She said, oh my gosh, it's not going to fit in our apartment. It's 6 feet tall. I said, it's not 6 feet tall. It's about 3 inches. And she said, no, it's huge. I said, no, it's not. This is how big it is. And she said, oh. So our delightful friend, Igba, said, hey, I'm going to send this to you. And I said, can you say that in a different way? No, I said, how are you going to do that? You're in Russia. Everything's locked down. You can't get anything in or out of Russia. At least that's what we think. He said, let me find out. So the next day he found out and he said, it's done. It's sent. I said, what? He said, yeah, Russian Post. Here's the tracking number. A tracking number for the Russian Post. So I had the tracking number. And you can track it. There's a website. You can track Russian Post in English. They'll tell you exactly where your package is. It's supposed to be here in 6 days. It took 17 days to get here. But I'm shocked that it made it out of Russia. And it was in Russia for about 10 days. It took a long time to get past customs. And then, oddly enough, interestingly enough, from Russia, it went to Turkey. And it was in Turkey for a couple of days. And then almost instantly, the next thing was it's in the USA at JFK. So it went from Turkey to JFK in about a half a day, is what it looks like on the tracking thing. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it's JFK. Wow. And then it said delivered. And I thought, well, what does that mean? I didn't get notification from the front desk. My informed delivery that I get every day from the Postal Service, nothing. No package, nothing. I thought maybe delivered to the post office, because that's kind of how they do it here. And then it'll get delivered to me. So I thought, well, that's interesting and fun. And then that day where it said delivered, I got this sent to me by our friend Igba on Discord. And it's this. This is an NFT of his that I own, called the Business Pharaoh. I think it's very interesting, very beautiful. It's my banner on my Twitter account. So this is the NFT art. And then he sent me this. And I said, oh, okay. Thanks for the interesting puzzle thing, right? Because, like Nathan, I'm a big dummy. What do I know? So I thought, okay, weird, but okay, I'll take it. And then about 2 hours later, because I'm thinking about this, not understanding what the puzzle thing is, I think, well, maybe they're doing a lot of construction. They're rebuilding our lobby in the building. We used to have beautiful light white marble floors. Now we have some kind of dark, gravelly-looking brown stuff as the flooring. It's very weird. I guess that's the modern kids look. So it's hard to get things from the front desk. Mail has been delayed. I don't know what I'm doing. So I said, well, maybe it's in our mailbox. Sometimes it just goes to the mailbox and we don't get notified. So Jan Marie said, I'll go down. Thank you. So she went downstairs, checked the mailbox, came back. With this. I have obliterated the addresses for privacy purposes, but I want to show you the stamps. Oh, I love the stamps. These are Russian stamps from our friend Igba. 17 days delivered. I couldn't believe it. From Russia with love. Really? Not kidding. So we have that. This from the Igba. And then, as you're unwrapping it, it was very delicately wrapped. A little box. Oh my goodness, he put our sculpture in a box. What? No. So I opened the box. The sculpture was in here, wrapped very carefully. But this is the answer. Puzzle. The answer to the puzzle is, it's a puzzle. So suddenly, because I'm not very quick, I put it all together that this NFT became this puzzle, became this gift from Igba. Oh, I just lost a piece. Oh, no. From Russia with love. Oh, gosh. Now I'm in trouble. Wouldn't that be great that I do the whole thing and I lose a piece? I think I only lost one piece. I see it here. It's stuck under the table. Oh, it went under the desk. Saved. Now, this could be a cruel joke on Igba, because I'm terrible with puzzles. Or it could be an encouragement from my friend Igba saying, hey, why don't you get better at puzzles? Or it could just be a most fantastic gift of a friend who saw that I talked about puzzles. Oh, he made me a puzzle. I don't know how you make a puzzle in Russia during a war. But by golly, he did it. And it's beautifully done. It's very, very professional looking. Oh, here are two pieces that are stuck together. I'm not unsticking them. I'm leaving it that way because I need all the help I can get. I find, here's another piece. I shouldn't have rattled it too much. It might have all been together as one. Here's another piece, two pieces stuck together. I'm not touching it. But what I realize, because I'm not good at puzzles, is that because I now have this, so if I were cunning and really smart and better at math, I could take every piece of the puzzle and pre-put it on the puzzle before I put it together to see if it actually fits and where it's coming from. I don't know if any of that makes any sense. But I love my gift. I'm very delighted to have this. And oh, by the way, this is my new friend. This is that glorious piece of sculpture that our friend Igba from Russia was making for us, for me. It's beautiful. Perfectly sized. I love the curve. I love the face. I love the mouth. The Easter Island right here in the palm of my hand. And so I, of course, immediately celebrated that online. Moved too fast. With this, with the pharaoh behind us, the eye of the pharaoh becomes the eye of the sculpture. Thank you so much. And this, two eyes of the pharaoh upon the sculpture. And it's just beautiful. So this, something you say forever and ever. A new friend. So I said, Igba, what is the name of this person? Because it's now my new best friend. He said, this is David's helper. And he's there for you when you're streaming or writing. And we believe that there are spirits in stones. And when you sculpt a stone or a rock or a piece of marble, you are releasing the spirit that is encapsulated in that stone. So, David's helper has been released, unleashed unto the world. And for that, I thank you so much, Igba. My new best friend, my old best friend, Igba. And on that note of delight and joy and reasoning, we're taking our very next blood pressure break, returning in a moment. And we are back from break here on Bowls.tv, BOLES.tv, Bowls.television. You're on break. It's hard. This next topic is difficult to discuss. But in the meantime, hey, we had a dad joke. I told a dad joke. Just to kind of break up the world a little bit. Put the cat out. I didn't realize it was on fire. Pretty good. That's what you expect from a dad joke. I don't know how they started. I wonder what the very first dad joke was. Somebody has to know out there. Somehow. Some way, somewhere, the world is not on fire. So, as you know, over the course of this live stream, we have our friend Igba, who is a very talented NFT artist living in Russia. And we also have our friend Alexander Grushansky, who lives in Ukraine. And who has 4 kids and a wife and 2 elderly parents, and a very good friend who I think is 98 years old, named Irina. And we have been sharing videos and photos that Alexander sends to us to share with you. And it's difficult because a lot of the Russian propaganda is that all Russians love Putin, and Alexander hates Putin. So I kind of mentioned one time, a month ago, to Igba, hey, you know, Alexander's our friend in Ukraine, and you're in Russia, and I don't know if you two know each other, but maybe you could connect because you seem to share the same spirit of frustration of what's going on with the war. And they did connect. And Alexander now knows that he has a good friend and ally in Igba, which is fantastic and wonderful. Because it seems like there is a lot of discontent in Russia. A lot of the people who have money, the regular residents, don't want to have anything to do with this war. They don't support the war, which is why Putin has to go around and, get criminals to come and fight his wars for him. And that's who's serving now are the criminals and the people who are dependent on drugs. Those are the people out there wielding the guns against Ukraine. Friday, Igba sent me this and also posted this. This is a 20-year-old boy from the neighborhood signing the Ukraine flag before he was sent off to the war. And on Friday, he was killed in action. And this is what Alexander posted on his Twitter account about him. He was 20 years old. We saw him 6 days ago. We talked about home and relatives. He had his whole life ahead of him. Now all that's left is a photo and a wish on a flag. Putin killed him. So this is what I'm talking about with the magnificence of doing a live stream. Is one moment you're talking about the beauty of innately created art, and in the next minute you're talking about a person in another country who was killed by the person running this country. It's sort of a hard thing to swallow, but I guess, when you're trying to be a mature adult, you try to separate the terrible from the wonderful and the awful from the sublime. So that was the news on Friday, that this young man, 20-year-old, kid from the neighborhood, dead. Whew. Mother has to bury him. And I talked to Alexander most of the day about that. And then the next day, he told me, Alexander, our brother Karamazov, told me that he had been called up to the front and they're processing his papers. Now, I know just from sort of watching the news, that if you are a male of a certain age in Ukraine, you stay. Women and children can leave, but you stay. But I also knew that there were exceptions being made, that if you have someone who relies on you, like an elderly parent or a disabled child, you, if you're a man, can leave. You can go because you have to take care of them. So I asked Alexander about that. I said, so you've talked about, leaving and making plans and getting your parents out and your kids out and your wife. What are you going to do? And on Saturday, he told me what he's going to do. He said, they are staying, and I am going to fight. He's a jeweler, by the way. That's his real life. He's not an army person. He's not a military man. And so I said, well, why? What about your children? Why wouldn't you leave with your children? And he replied back and said, look, I am eligible to leave because I have minor children. I can take my whole family and go. And he said, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stay and I'm going to fight. Because I will not be a slave to Putin. And I did not understand this. So I asked my friend Igba this morning. I haven't heard from Alexander since he told me he's leaving. I said, please stay in touch. As terrible as this sounds, if something happens to you, like you're wounded or something else, please find a way to have somebody let us know. I've been talking to Igba all morning about this too. So let me see if I can find it. Talked about Navalny and, oh boy, interesting stuff. I'm just not sure what I'm allowed to share. Now, this is interesting. I asked Igba just for his take on why Alexander would not leave with his family, make sure that they are safe. He is safe. He gets out. Why would he stay? And Igba said, I can't show it to you because there's other stuff on here. It says in the movie Black Panther, the villain of the film says that he would rather die than to live and be like a slave. I wonder if that's the similar sentiment. That's exactly the sentiment, Gordon, and it's very, very interesting. This is how Igba explained it to me today. I remember there was a cartoon when I was a kid. Maybe it was Ukrainian or Belarusian. There was a quote that said, "Death is not scary. Life in captivity is scary." And then I wanted to add that you're right, it's hard for us to think about it when our loved ones were not killed by Nazi bombs. Maybe a man has no normal emotions in that situation. He only wants to take revenge on Putin's fascism. Then he talks about the person who was blown up in a car bomb. Death is not scary. Life in captivity is scary. And that has been the tone and the tune that Alexander has been playing and saying with me ever since I've known him. Ukraine will always be free. There are 40 million of us. We are standing up to Putin. We will not be defeated. We would rather die. He would rather be killed in action defending the homeland, Ukrainian homeland, than to let Putin win. And this was then one of the other things that he posted, which I found sort of alarming. The 21st, yesterday. And this was it. Good morning, everybody. And he also posted that on our Discord server in our Ukraine section first. Then he posted it on Twitter. And it's a coffee cup full of bullets. I mean, high-powered military bullets. Just sort of letting people know what's next. And I commented, well, that's quite a cup of caffeine, which I thought was sort of funny and on point and kind of like winking, I know what the heck's going on there, boy. It's not good news. So I don't know, Alexander seems determined that he is taking up a gun and going to the front. It's his life. His life is in his hands. And I guess it's important for him to set that example for his children, that it's more important for him to do that, to go where he needs to go, than to leave with them. I'm not sure I agree, and I don't think our friend Igba agrees. But we're not living there and we're not getting bombed every day. It's difficult. So over the weekend, I had a little bit of fun. Let me show you this. Excuse me. I'm being, there, I did it. Good morning, everyone. What did I say? Now that's a lot of caffeine. Here's my Igba post. Meow, meow. More Igba, yay. Hey, original Igba. Woohoo. Reposted Igba. Original Igba. Now, this was fun. Have you heard about the AI stuff they're doing with imagery these days? I don't get it. I don't know why you would want artificial intelligence deciding what your artwork looks like. But who am I to decide? So there are these websites now. You can go and you can type in search terms, and then they will take those search terms and make artificial intelligent images out of them. So I found one over the weekend, and I typed this in. Trump devil goat. And these are the images that were spit back at me within 60 seconds. Kind of funny. Cartoony. I like it. Here's another one. Funky Cold Medina. I was just curious to see what would happen. And this, I don't understand, is what was returned. Almost all exactly the same thing. 369 images of the same thing. I don't get the joke. It went over my head. Then I decided to be a little more clear and not quite so clever. I typed in Beatles, Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan. And this is what I got back. Mangled faces of Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles. I said I was retiring. Not so fast! Crayon. CRAIYON.com. AI, artificial intelligence, model drawing of images from any prompt. Hey! I was going to type in man, beast, pig, but that's too easy. Let's type in man, beast, cat, and see what comes up in 2 minutes. Over the weekend, it said 1 minute, so obviously there's stress on the server. Oh, and here's a little countdown clock. I don't think that was there over the weekend. And this is where I should be singing or doing a little dance to fill the time. But hey, what are you going to do? Think about Alexander and his war plans. Boy, that's a tough thing to... I don't know. If he's going to fight the war, that means the war is coming closer to him, right? And he lives... The war is here, and he lives way over here. So for him to get there, that's going to be 2 days of traveling. I mean, probably 3 days. It's more than half the... I don't know why he wouldn't get his family out and then go. Man, beast, cat. The cat part I'm seeing, the beast part is very weird. There has to be some sort of method to this AI madness. Be specific to create good images. Here are a few keywords that can be interesting to experiment with. Illustration, photorealistic, high definition. We've seen so many cool tricks from the community. So you should definitely check out what others do for inspiration. Well, the challenge has been put down, right? Okay. I accept the challenge. I do as I'm told. So I guess Alexander must have plans to keep his family out of danger while he's out shooting a gun at the Russians, but I don't know what that plan is. And he has 3 minor children, and one I guess is a little older. And he's put pictures of his beautiful daughters on his Twitter account. I don't know what he's thinking. I hope I'll hear from him, but I'm concerned now that he's gone or is in the process of going that we're not going to hear from him very much anymore, which is disappointing because I've loved sharing the things that he sends us. This is taking long. Ooh, now this is better. Illustration, photorealistic, high definition. Interesting. What the heck? I don't know if we want to know what that is. Safety. Oh, no, I did it wrong. I said back to safety. How do I get out of it? Oh, I just close it. Okay, this. And there are people who are doing this AI stuff with their NFTs, and some of it's interesting, but I don't want these famous NFT artists using AI to make their NFTs. That, to me, I'm not interested in that. If I want computer-generated art, I will go to Crayon and have it created for me. Let's see. So let's go photorealistic. Photorealistic Putin cat. We'll try that. So photorealistic should mean not a cartoon, right? We're against photorealism as an art form, but not when it comes to fake art forms. That's very interesting to us. Because we're not very deep or we're very wide. We're just very shallow. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Now at 45 seconds and rising. I hope this will be the best one of the day. If not, I have to think of something better. I think Putin would be a ripe one, but maybe everyone in the world is doing a Putin one. Oh, now look at this. Photorealistic Putin cat. I'm not sure I get it. Does this look like Putin? I don't know. Does Putin have weird eyes? Is that what they're trying to say? I don't understand. It's not making sense to me. I love the cats, though. But if they're Putin cats, well, I guess I'm the one who created the Putin. Weird. Wow. I wish I understood what's going on. Interesting. Cartoon, which is the opposite of photorealistic, right? We'll see what kind of results that gets. And then I'll stop because I know I'm making myself crazy with this. But it's a lot of fun to play around with. And I've seen a lot of these There must be special software because some of the AI stuff is really, really interesting. 3D kind of. I think Sabet was messing around with some kind of 3D software to create his art, which I don't like. I like Sabet taking his paints and his pots and pans and drawing stuff with his hand. I don't want him inputting something into a computer and saying, make it Sabet-like. Not so fast. We have a long way to go and a short time to get there. Oh, no, this is cuter. That sort of looks like Putin as a cat. I do give credit for that. Putin must have weird eyes. That's the only thing, because all these cats have strange, very strange eyes. Oh, this is a good one. That looks sort of Putin-esque. Uh-huh. Very funny. Who knew AI could be so ugly? And now we're taking a very brief blood pressure break. Returning in a moment. And we're back from the old break, as they say. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv. It's BOLES.television.tv. Television, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And on the weekends, it's Jana Marie, sweetheart. They call her Professor Sweeney, but she prefers the Jana Marie. Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. And it's a hoedown. It's a hayride. It's a lot of fun. The chat never stops. American Sign Language, health, beauty, veganism, it's all there. Go find her. Here on Bowles.tv. Hey, Gordon said, I just emailed you my attempt at AI art. And I have to say, Gordon did it better than I did. And then I tried to imitate him on this break, and I didn't do any better. I have to keep practicing. Here's Gordon's take. Being super duper 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 specific. Salvador Dali eating goat cheese waffles while sitting next to an actual goat. Now that's just a lot of fun. Now I can't bring these up individually because it's not my image. But that's fun. That is super well done. That is AI, I would have to dare say, at its very best. So I tried to take Gordon's inspiration and be very specific. Didn't work out. Putin, Trump, child, gun, bomb, wig, FBI papers, illegal. Doesn't even make sense. I don't know what it is. What is that? I don't get it. Is that the child? I don't understand. What? I'm not doing this right. The Beatles Bob Dylan thing was better. That's the worst one that I ever came up with. It was the best looking one. So now I have to try to be smart about this. Maybe we'll do a chess thing. Chess, pineapple, Hikaru, Magnus, frog. Sure. I don't think it's very good. I can't know. The genius of Gordon's was goat cheese waffle with an actual goat. Now that was tricky, and the AI tricked around it and made it even better. So I do love that. So maybe the AI stuff is the way to go. I don't know. I don't think so, but who am I to say? It's been a wild show today, talking about the highs of our friend Igba and the lows of our friend Alexander and trying to find the middle ground in between. And I don't know if we found it. Maybe we found the middle. Oh, no, this is interesting. The middle island is Rayon. See, the pineapple is a big Hikaru Nakamura thing. He's sort of known as the pineapple. I don't know why. Very weird. I don't know what this has to do with any of the things I put in there. I'm a little bit disappointed. That's kind of funny. Pineapple on chessboard. I mean, they're getting the idea right, but we're not getting any of the players like Prague or Carlsen or Hikaru. Just might have to keep trying. I'm going to try one more time just because I have to. Pineapple, because that's working. Pineapple. Boat. Bull. Banana boy. Okay. And then I have a very interesting... I have to make Gordon says, I think the issue is you didn't make a full sentence. I thought we were supposed to put in key terms. Okay, so I have to have a full sentence. I will try that next. And then I'm going to share a very interesting thing that Igba just sent me while we're doing our show. While that's cooking, Hikaru Nakamura from Gordon. Carl finds out why people show off their pineapples. Honey, do you think what I'm thinking? Yeah, let's say hi. They might like us. And when he does his live stream, he has a neon pineapple behind him on the wall. He often wears a pineapple t-shirt. He has pineapple sunglasses. I don't know where it came from, but I think it's hilarious. So today someone mentioned that pineapples are a sign for swingers to identify themselves in public. Now that is funny. And I'm sure he's going to talk about it in this show, because chat are not going to let him get away with it. He also has a pineapple business suit that he ordered online. He orders all this stuff online on his show. Now this isn't okay. Pineapple boat pool. Okay, so I'm going to come up with a sentence now. Trump riding a pineapple motorcycle with Putin on his lap. Enter. I should have added photorealistic. I don't want a cartoon. So while that's playing, I'll go to the main screen so I can surprise you when it pops up. I hope. Well, this is what else our friend Igba said today while we're doing our show. His father has lost his job because of the war. I don't think our friend Igba is really working because he's selling his NFTs, but he's also buying NFTs, which I find very interesting. That means he has some money. The photos that he shares on Instagram and on the Twitter seem to show that he's in a very, very beautiful home with beautiful, beautiful surroundings. That said, he talked about his mother this morning on his live feed and thanking her for everything she's done for him. And she used to be an artist, he said. Then she got pregnant and had him, and she gave up her art to raise him, which I don't quite understand why you have to give up your art to raise a son, but I'm not Russian. What do I know? So Igba said, my mother has a pension of $150 a month, barely enough to pay for utilities and basic food, not to mention a pharmacy trip or visiting the dentist. Because I said, we get a lot of coverage here that, a lot of Russians want to reunite Mother Russia by taking over Ukraine. So this is his answer to that. He goes on, what Mother Russia is there to talk about? My mother once told me that it would be better if America expanded and took Russia under its wing. Wow. We'd live better than like this. Wow. I accept the invitation. On behalf of President Biden and the Democrats and the Republicans, we will take Mother Russia under our wing and make it part of the Americas. I love the idea. I take it 100%. Okay, so what else is new? Huh? What else is new? There's nothing else new. Gordon's right. Make a full sentence and you're going to get back something spectacular. And so I did, and so here it is. Don't ever doubt the Gordon. Trump riding a pineapple motorcycle with Putin on his lap. Okay, so here's the first one. Close. Interesting. I don't get what they're doing with their poor faces. Here we go. A pineapple motorcycle. I guess they're both on the same motorcycle. I guess this is the pineapple. Right? A tandem motorcycle, I guess, is somehow in there. I thought that was Putin's face for a moment, but I guess this is Putin, and this is our Trump. Now, if I could refine this better, I'm sure I could do better. But the pineapple motorcycle, that was the key to the fun. Although I'd love to see the sitting on the lap part, but I guess that's not possible. Because this is very rudimentary drawing. Fun. Fun with AI. Well, what a show this has been. What a weird mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. We'll see if I get a DMCA slap for that one. I didn't sing it, though. So this has been a wonderful show. Power pack, jam pack with art, Russian stamps, and heartbreak. Can't ask for a better show than that. The whole human experience, the human condition, as they say. Hey, Commissioner Gordon signs off from Winter Garden, Florida, saying, thanks for having us. And we reply, hey, Gordon, we'll see you in a day or two, and I'll have more ideas for you. We hope. Sometimes you don't have any ideas. You just gotta sit down. Now we know we have our crayon friend that we can call upon in our times of distress when we don't know what to say, and let the crayon create the content. Wouldn't that be great? I could sit down, type in ideas for a show, right? Live show. Then have the AI go to all the YouTube video on demand, put it all together. New show. Let it do that for the next 25 years. Never the same show. If you have a question or comment, you can email me, david@bowles.tv. You can find me on Twitter @DavidBowles. Super follows to follow. Our friend Alexander is currently a super follower. Will he last? I don't know. I don't count on it. But I hope so. On Facebook, we are BOLES. That's our business page. Instagram, we are Bowles Books. On TikTok, Bowles TV. And hey, if you want to join us on our Discord server, a lot of fun there. Come find us, come say hi. So until tomorrow, I hope you have a wonderful nap, great day. And when ye shall awaken from your restful sleep, may your soul be filled with joy and anticipation. I'll see you tomorrow.